So that great philosopher once said, "Live long and prosper." Oh, what's good, Down in Sports Talk? We are in the building. It must be what?
Must be Tuesday.
Yes, that
Must
is
be Tuesday.
the tones of YADABEAR, aka Browski, aka Philly's number one. You know what I mean? I am left-handed at RM Desk on Twitter. Get at me. A lot of stuff to get into tonight. Early, we are in the middle of a hot sports situation right now. We got the Final Four coming up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Men's and women's side. Major League Baseball just kicked off. You know what I mean? The
Mm-hmm.
NBA playoffs about to get thick. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? A lot of stuff going on. So we're gonna talk about it and get into it and make sure it happens for y'all. You know what I mean? In the
Yeah.
way that we do it. Bear, what's good with you?
Oh man, the city is on fire this week. As you stated, baseball started out. Phillies had two. We got two series going on here. They right now playing the Reds. They up 2-1. You got the Sixers playing Wells Fargo Center. The return of the reigning MVP has returned today, which is a great sight. We got about 7 to 8 games until the playoffs start. So we have to, solidify our spot. We're currently in the AFC, trying to get our way out of the play-in, and it's WrestleMania week, and WrestleMania is in Philadelphia. So the city is buzzing. It's gonna be hectic this whole week here in Philly. So if you guys in town, um, definitely prepare to be in traffic. What's going on with you up there in New York?
Um, Man, listen, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Still the city that you gotta keep your head on the swivel and all that. But right now we celebrating New York Yankees 5-0. You know what I'm saying? See what it is, Yankee baseball. But we're not like other fans. We're not talking that the Yankees are going to the World Series in April. We're not doing that. You know what I mean? 5-0 is a good start. I haven't seen that since 1992, right?
Mhm.
And somebody was like, "Oh well, yeah, they did it in 93 and 94." No, man, the Yankees didn't win the World Series till '96. So
Yeah.
again, 5-0 is 5-0. Sweeping the Astros down in Houston, the great thing. Juan Soto got off to a great start. He threw the guy out at the plate. Great start.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
he goes opposite field in the next game. Cabrera having a great series, getting off to a great start. You know what I mean? So again, the Yankees 5-0 is 5-0. All right, we're in Arizona right now, making it happen. We won 5-2 last night. We're trying to, get another couple of wins out on the West Coast before we come home for opening day, which is going to be a mad house, as opposed to what's going on the other end of the city in Queens with the New York Mets. But we won't get into that. Yeah, it's going to be a madhouse opening day, Yankee Stadium. Expecting the roll call to be bananas. You know what I mean? Juan Soto's first roll call. You know what I mean? It's going to be really, really crazy. And it would be nice to take an undefeated record into opening day. It would really, really be nice. But can't have it all. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we are where we need to be at right now. And we're going to get into our, how we do it during the baseball season. We have our periods, you know what I mean? Our grading market periods. Was it
Yep.
Memorial Day?
Yep.
For
Check-in.
4th of July.
Yep.
What else, Browski?
Labor
Memorial Day,
Day.
4th of July, Labor Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just rock with us down in Sports Talk. We definitely in the building. It's
Yes.
Yankee baseball all the time right now. Liking the strategy. Aaron Boone doesn't really have to do much. Came into the season, but people whispering that he was on the hot seat. Which is understandable. You know what I mean? Because we had some teams that were supposed to do more than they've done. You know what I mean? And Aaron Boone should bear the responsibility for that. He's still living off of that home run, man, and that's the bugged out part. You know what I mean? It's like
How
Marvin
many
Lewis.
years ago was that?
Like
Was that
you know what I mean? Like what was
was it like
like
12 years
Marvin Lewis?
ago?
man? Like, what are you doing? But again, yeah, at the end of the day, right now, we good. It kind of like takes people's minds off of the other stuff that's going on in the city, man. So, Yankees are 5-0, and we good with that. But down in Sports Talk, we're gonna set it off tonight with a little basketball talk. Yadabear wants to talk about Joel Embiid. I kind of want to get into the Knicks a little bit, but go ahead. You got to expand a little bit more on the Sixers. You said they have like 8 games left in the season. What do you see them doing? How do you see them finishing up?
Yeah, we're in the AFC, about 8 games left, and our MVP has finally returned to the court. He's on limited minutes, really trying to see where the knee is at. Him practicing, it's all good seeing him practice, but you really can't really test the knee until you're playing against an opponent, because nobody at practice is going to go hard, because you don't want to be the guy that re-injured your star player, because next thing you know, he goes down. Your bag is at the door. Yeah, right. Yeah, you out of here. So right now, he got about 8 points, 3 assists, a couple of blocks. So he's working his way back in. Maxi's not playing. He got a little hip injury, so we still have to wait for a 1-2 punch to really be on the court. But you can tell that the team is playing a lot differently. They are really in sync. Everything's going through Joel. Joel passing is helping open up more opportunities for our outside shooters, because all the attention is going to go on Joel. He's getting double and triple team as he should, and that opens up shooting lanes for guys like Tobias Harris and Kyle Lowry and Campaign and Buddy Hill. So those guys, they got to step up and hit their open shots. But we'll see what the team really looks like when Maxey comes back and we're at full capacity. So we're just sitting back and hoping that we can move up in the standings. Right now, if the playoff starts today, we'll be playing Miami for that 7th seed. So we're only a couple games out of the 6th seed. So if we can get to that 6th seed, they should be worried. The East, they should be on notice if we can make it to that 6th seed. But what's going on in New York?
Well, speaking of the New York Knicks, right now trailing the Miami Heat, we're holding on to a 4th spot by a thread. We're a half game in front of Orlando, but we're also a half game behind Cleveland. All right. So again, it's up to us to do what we do with these next 8 games. We do have 8 games remaining as well. We have to play our best basketball going into the playoffs. So, like you mentioned, if the season was over today, the New York Knicks would play Orlando in the first round, and to me, that would be a toss-up series.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup.
I mean, that's a definite tough matchup for the Knicks, regardless of what they do have or what they don't have or whatever. I put a lot of respect on what Banchero and those guys are doing down there. You know what I mean? And I think that when you talk about your Sixers, you guys are only 2.5 games out of the 6th spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, it begins tonight. You know what I mean? I mean, it really begins tonight for you guys because Embiid is coming back. You got to get him. Up to, get his breath together so he can, be able to do what he does. You got to ease him back into the lineup. Then it's Max. So I want to ask you a question, This down in Sports Talk, man, Tuesday night. You know how we give it up. When's the last time you guys were at full strength or full capacity?
I would say.
Has it been at all this year?
It's been let me see. Joel went down like the 29th of January. He never played with Buddy. So yeah, I think around like the end of January, like the middle of January, we was really like after the trade.
That's when you got because that's when you were like the 4th and 5th, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, we were when he went down, we was the 5th seed when he went down. We was the 5th seed, and then and now he's been out over little over 2 months, and we dropped down to the AC. So we still not 100% whole because we're still missing Maxie and Robert Covington, and D'Anthony Melton is also out. D'Anthony Melton should be coming back soon. They also said Robert Covington should be returning soon too. And I believe Maxie is just day to day. So hopefully we'll get Maxie back sooner than later so that him and Joel can get that cohesiveness back together that they had in the beginning of the season, because they was rolling. That 2-man game was rolling really good. And now with the addition of Buddy Hield, that can open up the floor a little bit more with the outside shooting. So
yeah, I
we'll
mean,
see.
yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see this. There's 7, 8, games left in the season, and now it kind of begins now. The jostling for position was back in like March, late February and March was the jostling. Now you gotta have to throw straight elbows to kind of like seal get your spot down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you gotta just board those in.
What are we thinking about the West? The West is crazy right now. What do you?
The West is wild bananas. Like we said last week, it's very possible that we can see future Hall of Famers not in the playoff this year. Right now I believe the Lakers and the Warriors are still in that 9-10 area. But what's so crazy is that Houston is peaking over right now. Them young boys in Houston are balling, and they could easily take that 10th spot. I believe Golden State is just maybe a half a game or a game above Houston.
They're 2 games. They're 2 games above Houston.
Okay, now they're 2 games above Houston. So they have been winning on the road, but it seems like when they get home, they can't find the buckets. When they and like they are definitely road warriors, because like I said, most of every game they won so far has been on the road. You got the Lakers, they're up and down. They in the 9th spot. Then you got Dallas and Phoenix. 7, 8 spot.
You got Golden State is 10th, the Lakers are 9th, Sacramento is 8th.
Oh, Sacramento 8th.
Phoenix is 7th.
So where's so Dallas moved up to the 6th seed now? Okay, let's check.
New Orleans is the 6th seed. Dallas
so where's Dallas? Oh, damn, Dallas moved up to the 5th. All right. So now we got Phoenix and Sacramento. But who would have thought that Phoenix will be a playing game?
Absolutely, you're right. Who would have thought that Phoenix would be where they're at right now?
When we started out the season, we didn't think that the Warriors, the Suns, nor the Lakers would be in this play-in situation. And it's possible that we wouldn't see no KD, no Booker, no Bill, no AD, no LeBron, no Steph, no Clay, no Draymond. It's very possible that we're not going to see
no Sabonis,
no Sabonis, no Malik Monk.
Right.
It's very possible that that we're not going to see these guys. But the reason why I kind of left them off, because we expect to see LeBron, Steph, and KD in the playoff. Like, those are names that that we expect to see them in the post. Playing playoffs. Now the Kings. They have recent success. From last season and this season also, but it's crazy to think of a playoff without KD, a playoff without LeBron, a playoff without Steph. I think Steph is the one that's recently had missed a playoff when he was hurt, but throughout the years, these are guys who constantly been in the playoffs. We've seen playoff basketball with LeBron, KD, Steph Curry. Now,
so it wouldn't be as upsetting as a playoff without Trae Young, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid.
No, it would be upsetting.
It would be.
Joel will be upsetting. Yeah, there will be upsetting. But again, when we say the Trey Youngs and the DeMars, they're not on the same status as the Joels and the
That's true. That's
KDs.
true.
I
You
mean,
know,
we talking about former MVPs, but to see the young guys, like the young teams that have been brought up through the draft, quote unquote, their farm system, like the OKC, it's crazy.
it is.
OKC, Minnesota, you
Listen,
know,
Oklahoma City is making us look smart because I was like,
yeah.
Oklahoma City gonna be a beast. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we was definitely on that OKC train. We was
Yeah,
definitely saying it. Like, listen,
Oklahoma City's gonna be a beast. I didn't think it was gonna be like this. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
I didn't say number one.
But
I thought maybe like top five. They
yeah,
being like
like
the
they
top
put some
five.
respect on their name, but they like, yo, put some respect on our name, and I'm not
Yeah.
mad at them. So, but
Um.
now the pressure is going to be on them to kind of like carry that through to the playoffs because now the excuse is going to be like, well, they were too young. Nah, that don't matter.
Nah.
You were the top seed in the West. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
You the top seed in the West. You got
mm-hmm,
a MVP candidate on your team.
mm-hmm,
So there's no excuses. They got to
absolutely,
show up in the playoffs.
absolutely. And so who's a team in each conference that you want to kind of like keep an eye on with this last week of the season?
Well, I'm definitely keeping an eye on my Sixers because I need to see where we're gonna fall in at. With Jarrell coming back and hopefully Maxi being back soon on the East. On the West, I'm gonna have to go with Dallas because I keep saying all season that Dallas is one of those sneaky teams that can ruin your postseason's dreams. You turn around next minute you are tied. The series is tied 2-2, and then you're on the verge of losing Game 5, and then you down 3-2.
Mm.
So I think the Mavericks is one of those teams that can get to the second round and be a disturbance for, like, I don't know, the Nuggets or OKC or Minnesota, somebody like that. And it's like, oh, well, we didn't have Dallas on the radar.
Mm.
So I think the Mavericks.
You have Kyrie and Luka Doncic on the radar. Listen. What about the Clippers? Because Kawhi is hurt.
Kawhi's always hurt. So that's my summary of the Clippers.
Uh-oh.
Kawhi is always hurt. Paul George is always hurt. And soon James Harden is going to disappear in the playoffs. I already seen that single-handedly for myself for 2 years. And now LA is going to have to join in the pain of James Harden disappearing when you need him most in the playoffs. So with Kawhi being hurt, that's regular. Paul George, to me, is on the downward spiral of his career because he looks washed out there.
Mm.
He doesn't look good at all. And then you have James Harden that's going to disappear. He's
Right.
gonna he's gonna disappear.
His annual siesta during the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah. And he's close. So you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna go to Vegas. He's only a couple hours away from Vegas now, so he don't gotta really charter a flight. He can get like a helicopter trip and go to Vegas and party, and then come back and be like, oh, I had permission. Ty Lue gave me permission to go to Vegas. Why do you need to go to Vegas during the playoffs every year, James? What's in Vegas?
Right.
I
Right.
don't know. I don't know. But who knows?
All right. I mean, we'll see. It's a week left in the season, and we'll
Yep.
be right there talking that good playoff talk and all of that good stuff. It looks like for me, real quick, the East, the team to watch out for beside my Knicks. I want to see if we can, still hold on to that kind of home court advantage. You know what I mean? Top 4 teams in the East. If we can hold on to that, I'm hoping that we do. But those teams that are right on our tails, like Orlando or Indiana, you got to watch out for them because they're young, they're up and coming, they got nothing to lose. And again, Boston, I'm like, they're doing their thing. Everybody's expected for them to do something. But I kind of like, it's like whatever with me with the Boston Celtics. You know what I mean? But in the West, the team to watch out for is Dallas. We talked about it. Kyrie and Luka are starting to get the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And again, they're not, the rift or whatever they try to incorporate into whatever they got going on down there. It's not
Yeah.
bothering them right now. I think they're going to end up with that 4 seed over the Clippers. I think they,
Very
they're,
possible.
they're 2 games behind the Clippers right now. They'll end up with that 4th seed, and
Yeah.
that's how I see that going on in the East and the West. Now we're gonna get into Yada Bear's, favorite one of her favorite topics. You
Yeah.
know, WrestleMania in her hometown is going down. Um, let's go. Let's talk about it. It's your
Ah,
thing. Let's
I
check it.
mean, the last time WrestleMania been in Philadelphia was in 1999. Um, that's like in the height of the Attitude Era. The height of The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, all those guys. DX. Uh, that's the last time it's been here in Philly. So to have it back here, and for them to have, they split the shows because the shows used to be entirely long. You could be watching wrestling for 6 to 8 hours during WrestleMania, and I like the fact that they split it for 2 days. So you got two main events, and The Rock is back. Dwayne The Rock Johnson will be wrestling on what, Saturday? No, was it Friday? Friday of WrestleMania. He will be tagging with his cousin Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in the tag team match. So that should be pretty interesting to see The Rock back in the ring, doing one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time here in Philly. The city, like I said, the city is lit. All of the wrestling fans will be here. There's a lot of wrestling shows happening, not just WWE, but you got stuff going down in the old ECW arena. That's the 2300 arena. You got Ring of Honor here. Not only do you have WWE, but you have NXT pay-per-view will be filmed on, I believe, Saturday at the Wells Fargo Center, called Stand and Deliver. And then the main event for night 2 will be Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes. And um, if the Rock and Roman wins that tag match, they can have some type of special stipulation for the match. If they don't, then it's gonna be a straight up match. So it's crazy here. Any wrestling is really huge here in Philadelphia. We are a big time wrestling city. And then after WrestleMania, they always have what was that, Raw after WrestleMania, which is also like a huge show. Will be here on Monday night. So wrestling has deep roots here in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the home of ECW. When we had the Extreme Championship Wrestling here, back in the late '90s, early 2000s, all the hardcore matches and stuff. It was the birthplace here. So it's great to have it here. Everyone's excited. And there will be a lot of people in the city, and it should be a good show. Should be a really good show, especially with The Rock being back. He's back, and he brings all the excitement. You know.
Okay, I'm about to get at you, Bowski.
What?
You were supposed to talk about the women.
Oh well, because
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
because like The Rock being back is crazy. But
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but
the
no,
Rock.
no,
Yeah.
it do have a really really great women's match with the champion Rhea Ripley against Becky Lynch. Rhea has been on fire. She's been in the champion for the better much of like a year and a half now, going against Becky. That should be an entertaining match. And also something that's very interesting is that WWE has signed Jade Cargill, who was with the AEW promotion. She's a powerhouse. She's built and very strong. So I believe she may have like a dark match or like an opening match at WrestleMania. They kind of teasing it like she's gonna tag with Bianca Belair, maybe, who's another powerhouse former champion. So we got that match, and then the second match, the women's side, you got Bailey going against Io Sky, who's the champion also. So they got 2 championship belts, one for Raw, one for SmackDown. So we're also going to have that too. Yeah. See, there you go. I gave you a little.
I know that's your thing. So I say, go ahead.
Yeah,
talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hype. It's great to have.
I hear you. That's your thing.
They're gonna have they call it WWE World, where down at the convention center, where you can buy a bunch of paraphernalias and you have autograph sessions with different wrestlers. Them Jones be sold out. Like, people be paying hundreds of dollars just to stand in line and try to get these autographs on these wrestlers. But hey, people love it. People resell it. People put it in their stores. People put it in their homes.
Right.
Wrestling will always be a moneymaker. Always.
It seems like it.
Yeah. Generations.
Like
generations.
Absolutely. Because listen, don't play with me. I remember when we was little, when we had at the grandmother's house, and wrestling would come on 12 o'clock midnight on Saturday, and we would stay up and we would watch the wrestling. And Vince McMahon was doing the
commentating, the announcement. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so
everything.
Wrestling definitely is the generational thing. And like when we was down south, I knew about like Dusty Rhodes and our dog and Jake the Snake and all this. You know what I mean? I think it was what was it? Mid-South Wrestling or something like that.
Yeah. Jerry King Lawler, he had his wrestling.
Dusty Rhodes,
Ric Flair, all them guys.
You know what I used to like? You know what, man? This is like going back old school. I don't know if you remember the Grand Wizard. He was a manager, the Grand Wizard. He was like, he was. He had the little cane. He had the little turban on with the dark shades. It was.
I know you're talking about. Yes.
The Grand Wizard. Off the hook. You had Freddie Blas, classy Freddie Blassie. You got Captain Lou Albano. Now, I know a little bit about that. You know what I'm saying? Word up, man. So yeah, man. But wrestling, is definitely amazing. That's, to me, it's like that's something that you never would have thought that it would be going on 40, 50 years later.
Yeah, this long.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And what kind of surprises, or because they're gonna go for the shock value, what kind of surprises do you think is gonna happen at this big event that's going on in WrestleMania this weekend?
Well,
you got Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is performing.
Yeah. Look, he was down there at Raw in Brooklyn yesterday. He's gonna be performing there. I don't know. We might see like some couple blasts from the past. Might fly through there. But what's crazy is how like you'll figure you'll see like guys like Hulk Hogan and like Ric Flair, but they kind of staying away from them guys. This thing with Vince is huge, and it's kind of some of the old guys is kind of staying away because they was into a bunch of weird stuff back in the day. Back in the day, wrestling was really raunchy with some of the women out there, out there in the bikinis and doing like oil matches and stuff. Like, it was a lot of wild stuff that Vince had going on TV. So a lot of those guys right now, since Vince got put up on those charges, those allegations, that lawsuit, they have been staying away from primetime wrestling. So we may
Look,
not get like some of those old school guys out here.
but
They will be really
listen, they're
really
gonna be like,
careful.
nah, son, I can't do it. No,
Yeah.
I want to see, you know who I like? Doink the Clown. Is it? That's Doink the Clown. But yo, listen, man, down in Sports Talk, we in the building. We appreciate y'all, man, checking us out. We're gonna get into a thing right now. You already know Final Four is coming
Yes.
up. You know, we're gonna do the women or the men first.
We gotta do the men first. The women's just too popping.
All right, let's go.
We gotta do the men. Congratulations to NC State.
Yeah,
Who had
absolutely.
who had NC State in their Final Four?
In,
That's wild.
in either of them.
And either yeah, and either of them, but mainly on the men's side.
Right, right.
Like no one had them penciling, on a bracket, to make it to the Final Four, and the way I looked at the Final Four, well, the men's tournament as a whole, I looked at it as UConn versus everybody else, and that's how the tournament is kind of playing out because, even though like Purdue has been doing a thing. But UConn to me has seemed like the most consistent and well-rounded team in the tournament. Their defense has been impeccable on the court. It's crazy, and I just feel like they may be repeating. Um, I don't know. I feel like UConn maybe may repeat. How you feel about the men's side of this Final Four?
I mean, this Final Four right here, like you said, it's kind of like halfway was expected. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, UConn, people riding with them all season. Purdue, Zach Edey, they were kind of expected to make a deep run to at least get
Yeah.
to at least the Final Four, if not a championship. The other two, North Carolina State and Alabama, I mean, really not so much. You know what I mean? Especially
Yeah.
North Carolina State, no disrespect. But I think winning the tournament to get in, kind of does something for you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then they got that kid, the kid in the middle, is
It looked
who,
like kind of look like Zach Rudolph a little bit. Look
yeah,
like
he's a super beast, man. And
hmm
again, the joy DJ Horn, the joy you will have to watch these kids play, and that's going to be a battle. Him going up against Zach Edey is going to be crazy.
yeah.
Um, you want to see the best go up against the best, and this is what we asked for, and a lot on the line. The Final Four. People talking about like a Jim Valvano. I don't know if you kind of remember that that run that they made. Well, this was 80. This was 83. So
Mm-mm.
that's the when they played Houston, and the Final Four I think was in New Mexico, and it's the one when Derek Wittenberg took the shot and Daryl Bailey kind of got it and the alley oop, and they beat Houston. They beat Elijah Wan and
Okay.
them. Okay, that was like 83. And not getting off the subject, but Houston, that team with Elijah Wan and Clyde the Glide Drexler and Benny Anders and Larry Mishaw, that team was so dope, but they could not get it done. They
Mm-hmm.
lost 83 on the alley oop. Then the next year they went back and played Patrick Ewing in them
Yeah.
in the Kingdom. Patrick Ewing and them beat used to Cougars. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, North Carolina State, um, I think that, it's a nice story. You know what I'm saying? But on the other side, you got a team in Purdue, um, Zach Edey. I don't think they're going to be denied, man. I think North
Yeah.
Carolina State, they definitely deserve to be there. They knocked Duke off. They was killing Duke, I was
It
watching it,
was.
was killing them. But I think Purdue and UConn were kind of like destined for that showdown.
Yes.
Zach Edey, and Purdue, Big Ten basketball going up against Big East basketball, UConn, the defending
Mm-hmm.
national champions. I think that's what we're gonna get on Monday night.
I
Um,
think so
and
too.
I think it's gonna be a great game. So let's go to the women's side. What are we doing with the women's?
Well, number one, let's just take a moment to
And then
reflect on
and
what a great Elite Eight
UConn,
was.
the UConn women and men are in the Final Four too.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Crazy.
But let's just reflect on how great this Elite Eight was.
Okay,
This
okay.
was a fantastic Elite Eight. One of the best we had in a very long time. Each game was extremely competitive. Um, each game, stars showed up and showed out and put everything on the line, and the cream of the crop rise to the top. Per usual. Gotta give a major shout out to Juju. She laid it all out there. She had about what 30, 31, 29, 31 points. Going up against UConn that I said was on a mission, and UConn women's are on a mission. And the way that they're playing right now, they can beat anyone right now. Um, then we had what we've been waiting for, the national title, rematch. That didn't disappoint at all. Actually, was one of the highest viewed games of the weekend. They had about 12.3 million. Everybody was locked into that LSU Iowa game.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark, fantastic performance, 41 points, 12 assists. Angel Reese, she had about 18 and about 15, I believe. Kind of disappointed that she went down on the ankle after the ankle injury. It kind of threw her off her rhythm. She fouled out the game. The others just didn't show up. Anissa Merle, who had a fantastic Sweet 16, she didn't really put up, the points like she did in the last game.
Van Lith was 2 for 10 from the field, 1 for 6 for 3.
Exactly. Flajay Johnson also, wasn't her usual self. But the one thing I would have to point out is I don't understand what Kim Mulkey was doing to have a smaller defender on Caitlin Clark. Why not put Flajay on her? She made the adjustment in like the third quarter when they came out and had a gold. Iowa came out at halftime and had a Golden State Warrior third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking like, why do you have a smaller defender in Haley instead of Flajay Johnson, who's bigger, have a longer wingspan, and stronger? Caitlin Clark was out there just giving Haley the business. And Haley was just in la la land, like, I don't know what to do. They was doing one of the most ridiculous thing ever to do for a shooter is to go under the screen. You have to fight through the screen.
That's
you
good.
know. And then if you see that she's going under the screen, you have to switch. Where's the switch? There was no communication on the defensive side. That's why I think Kim definitely dropped the ball defensively. And also, when you see Angel go down, she didn't make any type of adjustment. She's so stubborn that she just went with the offense accordingly. You see Angel go down. Who's your next best player? Flajay Johnson. Put the ball in her hand and let her create. Put the ball in her hands. But she constantly kept the ball in Haley's hands. She was out of rhythm.
And she was just chucking up threes like, come on, yo.
It was just ridiculous. Anissa, didn't really show up. Last tier forward, she couldn't find a basket to save her life. It was written. when they came out at halftime and they came out extremely flat, I said, "Oh yeah," I said it's done. They lost the game in the third quarter.
Yeah, I
Even
mean
like
they scored 13 points in the third quarter.
yeah. So when you look at the final
Outscored
score,
24-13. Yeah,
yeah,
you
because
know.
when you look at the final score and you're like, oh, well, they only lost by like 7. It's like, no, that's just you know trash trash points at the end of the game.
Right. It wasn't
That,
what they say. It wasn't as close as the score
yeah,
indicates.
it wasn't that close at all because that, like I said, that third quarter they lost that game in the third quarter. I was like,
Mm.
I mean, Caitlyn was just shooting at will. Good looks. Like she should never had a good look at all. But they got their revenge. They put it down. I love these sportsmanship between Angel and Caitlyn because the media was always trying to make it about good versus evil.
Right.
Someone had to be the villain, and it's like, well, to me, they both are the villain because they both are good. Anytime someone's that good, they're the villain. You know, look at South Carolina; they're the villains. Now the villain hat is going to be placed back on to Coach Dawn Staley and Camila Cardosa
Hmm.
and and Bree Hall and Chloe Kitts and Malaysia Florali. It's all going to go on them now because now LSU is out and they gotta make Caitlin Clark seem, like the victim or, she's so soft and timid. But it's like, no, she's a competitor. It's just like Angel Reese is a competitor. And it was crazy that like at the press conference, Angel had to like let him know, like, yo, I'm human, I'm human. I'm getting
Well,
death threats, people talking wild, crazy about, me, and it just, I don't know, it's just crazy.
well, it's up to Dawn Staley in South Carolina to save the culture.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you look at the Final Four. You got South Carolina against North Carolina State. You see what that is. Then on the other
Yeah.
side of the bracket, you got Iowa and UConn. You got Caitlin Clark and Paige Buckets. You know what I
Can't wait for
mean?
that. Yeah.
So again, that's going to be you got two very interesting matchups. Um, when it comes down to it, for me, I think it's going to be South Carolina and Iowa. Regardless
That's
of
the matchup. That's the matchup that we want to see.
right,
We want to see that because it's like South Carolina can get revenge on Iowa for knocking them out. And, we all know the story with, Caitlin Clark waving them off on the 3-point line. Like, they don't got to guard them. They can't
right.
shoot. Well, it's a different story now. They can shoot from 3 now, you know, and they can defend on the wing too.
Hmm.
But what's so funny? And, I don't like making things about race. But when you look at the Final Four matchup, it's like you got 2 black schools
Yeah,
and then you got 2 white schools.
yeah.
You know, which is crazy to me. It's wild, but it's like, well, we only can have one. We're going to have one black school and one white school going against each other.
It,
So it's going to
it,
be
it you know,
UConn or
no
it's going to
matter
be
how you try to deviate from it or escape it, it's
but
always lands right there in front of you. You know what
it's
I'm
going to come
saying?
up. It's going to come up.
You know,
It's going to come up. So, I would definitely love to see, South Carolina versus Iowa. Um, to me, there was talks about if is Caitlin Clark the greatest women's college basketball player out there. I would have to say, well, how do we measure greatness? By how many championships that they have won. She
hmm
hasn't won any.
right?
So I can say that she is a great player, but not the greatest. She hasn't
Yeah.
won any championship.
That that I had to learn to come in off the window ledge because a lot of times people would say oh, so and so is the greatest of all time. So and so is the greatest of all time,
Mm-hmm.
and you forget about them 3 years later. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And the ones that are really deemed and given that status of the greatest of all time, um, they're still talking about them 25, 30, 40 years later. You know,
yeah,
those
and
guys are really
yeah,
talking all timers. You know,
yeah,
not some timers. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Not some timers. We talk about all timers. You know what I mean?
Now,
You
don't
know,
get me wrong. I think that we will be talking about her, 10, 20 years down the line, but it all depends on what happened in this final four, and also if she makes it to the championship and win, because
indeed,
we already know
indeed.
that this is the end of her college career. We already know.
Mm-hmm,
She already pointed that out there. Now
mm-hmm.
it's how she's going to end it. If she wins the championship, then we will, and we can have that greatest of all time conversations. But right now, she's she's great, because you can't overlook Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Kamika Holslaw, Kelsey Plum, Deanna Taurasi, Sue Bird, who these are people that I mentioned that all are champions. They have won multiple
Absolutely. You know,
championships. So
absolutely.
again, we are in the era that when we talk about greatness, we have to remember how we define greatness and
What,
how we define
what,
it
what the
now.
what the criteria? What the
Yeah,
criteria is? Right.
and how we define it is by championships.
Right.
Now, I don't want people to try to move that line, because we're talking about Caitlin Clark, and you know what I mean when I say Caitlin Clark, because anytime that we're talking about a white player versus a black player, sometimes that line of greatness moves back and forth.
Mm.
And most of the time it comes closer and then further away for the black athletes. You know, they already want to don her, the female Larry Bird. They put this whole thing about LSU versus Iowa as, oh, this is like the female Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson.
Right.
No, it's not. It's not, because they played for a championship. This year it was just to try to get to the Final Four. You know, um, so I just need people to just pump the brakes a little bit, and let's see what the outcome of this tournament is before we, place greatest of all time as one of her many accomplishments that she has accomplished this season. Because she has broken all of the records. Okay, she's
Absolutely.
broken,
Absolutely. Nobody's
pistol.
taking away from that. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's broken Pistol Pete's
But
record. No one
but
thought that record would be broken, and to be broken by a woman is also, amazing. But greatest of all times, Eagles, you need to win a championship.
yeah, and when you talk about Bird and Magic, um, they revolutionized the game. Like, these, no disrespect to nobody, but they're just adding on to it. The Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reeses, and they're adding on to the legacy. You know what I mean? Because people like came way before, like Lynette Woodard, Carol
Yes,
Brzezowski, Nancy Lieberman. You know what I
yes,
mean? Again, it's a long list
I,
of people that came, and when there wasn't no WNBA, and they were
yeah.
still, we still heard about them, and they were still doing their numbers. All
Mm-hmm.
right, so absolutely put some respect on Caitlin Clark, what she's accomplished. Again,
Absolutely.
she did the 4-year thing, so that has to
Yeah,
be, that you put credit on that from the door. You know what I mean? Because I like that. I like that part about it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
She
She
did a
stayed all
bit.
4 years.
Did all 4 years.
Um,
You know.
I mean,
So,
listen, she single-handedly put Iowa on the map.
yeah,
Single-handedly put them
yeah.
on the map.
Because it
Okay,
was a it was
so
it was a, it was a football school,
football school now, it's a women's college basketball school.
pretty
You
much.
know, um,
No doubt.
and I'm not gonna. I can't go without saying like definitely salute to Juju Watkins. She
Mm-hmm.
broke the freshman all-time scoring leader in UFC. She scored what, like over 900 points this season.
Right.
Um, Again, she also kind of put UFC back on the map. You know, um, she,
Stole all the thunder from Ronnie James and them.
she you didn't hear who when you think
Isaiah
about.
Collier and all those
Yep.
dudes. Yeah.
Because now when you think about UFC basketball, you think of Juju
Juju
Watkins.
Watkins.
He's
Absolutely.
only a freshman. So we have hopefully 3 more years of her greatness. And you just think she just scored over 900 points in one season. That's gonna that's gonna elevate.
No
We
doubt.
can be talking about her breaking Caitlin Clark's record. If she
I can see that. You know what I
if
mean?
she keeps going the way that she's going, we could be talking about that in 3 to 4 years. We could be talking about that. So we definitely gotta, give USC a salute. UCLA, basketball on the West Coast in LA is back. Is back, and it's crazy. Um, and what we got, the Final Four coming up, so should be some good games. It's gonna be some good games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're about to get out of here in a few, but we couldn't leave without talking about opening week of Major League Baseball. Yankee baseball all day. You already know 5-0. You know what I mean. So what was your thoughts about the first week of the season?
Well, you already know what I had said. Best bullpen where. I didn't
Yeah,
see it. I didn't see it this weekend.
that was
Um,
crazy.
my Phillies didn't start out the way that we wanted them to start out. They actually started the same way they did last season. So, with that being said, it's not really saying much. But we did expect a stronger outing against our arch nemesis, the Braves. The Braves came in here and took two games, and the two games they took, they basically embarrassed our bullpen. Um, Major League Baseball had domed the Phillies as the best bullpen in 2024. And when I saw that, I said, I need to see it in action before I can believe
You
it. I
saw it
said,
in action, all right.
yeah, I said, it looks good on paper to them, but to me, a hard body karate Phillies fan, when I look at this bullpen, I said, well, number one, we don't have a closer. How are we the best bullpen in baseball when we don't have a legit closer? That's my question right there. And two, we have basically the same bullpen that we had last year, minus Craig Kimball, that gave up the store during the NCLS. So, how is it the best bullpen? And when we seen in game 2 of this opening weekend, Nola is in mid-season form with giving up 11 hits and 2 home runs. I said, oh, he picked off where he left off last season. I said, he cried about getting the bag. They gave him the bag, and he gave us the same shit we saw last season.
Hmm.
Start off, he started off hot, 2 home runs off the bat, and then our ace who started out the weekend, he had a good showing, but guess what? Our bats didn't show up. The same thing that happened in the last game of the NCLS. We get production from our 7th and 8th hitter, but the guys that signed and cashed those $300 million checks,
Mhm.
they bats were ice cold. They still on vacation. They still in the off season because that's how they played. Now, granted, today They are beating up on the Reds. That's nice. Bryce Harper finally came out. He hit 2 home runs, 2 solo shots. They up like 8-1.
You got 2 home runs or 3 home runs?
I think what did he hit? The last time I checked, he had 2. He hit 2 today.
Okay.
Harper got excuse me, he has 3. He had 3 today, so I'm guessing he was tired of hearing Philly sports radio dog him out this past weekend because he didn't show up. So he came out, he had 3 home runs. They're up 8-1 against the Reds. We'll see if this momentum would kick in, but it would have been nice to see it against the Braves because, as we have said, the Braves has been winning the division for the past couple of years. We have been a wild card team, but as I have expected, I see the Braves winning the division. I'm okay with that. Whatever. Because the team is built for October. And that's what it really matters. The Braves can't see us in October, but we still got 150 plus games left. So I'm nowhere near the ledge. I'm not even near the window. I'm sitting in the living room. Okay, I'm sitting on the couch. All right, I'm sitting on the couch. We got these new fans. The younger fans. These guys are going crazy. You would think that it was like the end of September the way these guys are talking. I said, man, it's only 5 games in. Like, it's okay. It's all right. Calm down. We'll be fine. Phillies will be in the postseason. It's okay. But
I want to give a shout out to the Detroit Tigers. Somebody down in Sportstalk was like, watch out for the Tigers. Right? They're 4-0.
Yeah.
They won 4 games on the road.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Being that it was against the Chicago White Sox, they did what they had to do. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, let me get into them right quick. They're undefeated as well, 5-0. 5 games on the road. Gotta give it to them. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. At this point last year, we were talking about what? The Pittsburgh Pirates. And how they were taking the lead by storm and they were surprising everybody. And let me shout out the Milwaukee Brewers too. They're also 4-0. They're undefeated.
Shout out to Reese Hawkins.
Yeah, he's public enemy number 1, right? In Queens, right?
They hate him.
But I want to give a big up to New York Yankees, man. 5-0. On the road, it's starting. That's a thing, in the early part of the season where a lot of these teams are winning, on the road. You got the Pirates winning, 5 games on the road. You got the Yankees winning 5 games on the road. You know what I mean? And again, why are we not talking about the Dodgers? Again, they got off to a slow start. They, trying to get it together. They're 5-2. Yamamoto. He pitched a little bit better than he did, during this opening series. So again, it's just something to talk about right now. It's really, 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 really early.
Mookie Betts is playing out of his mind right now.
Mookie Betts is doing his thing, but again,
it's crazy.
It's super. He's batting over like 600.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's really dope to see. But nobody ever won the World Series in April.
Nope, not at all.
So again, we'll keep you posted on that. Now's the time when we get to shout out to Osiris XTV. All right, we see you. You know what I mean? Windwalker says he's at the store as usual.
Always.
This is when we get to the part of the show where we get down on it. We probably gonna go a little overtime, but it's all good. YADABEAR, what you getting down on this week?
Oh man, I got a couple of things. Number 1, I gotta get down on Riley Romero.
Oh, let's go.
He keeps taking L's after L's after L's.
Talk about robbing the bank.
When were it in? This guy I just don't get it. you know, he talks. He gets in that ring and he gets beat up. He don't even just like lose the fight.
Say it again, Brian.
Beat up. He gets beat up. You know how like some guys get in there, they may lose it, on the scorecard, Oh, we'll say, oh man, what was the judges watching? It's crazy. But when he comes in that ring and he just gets beat up for like 7 to 8 rounds, and it's like
pound it out, son.
yeah, like what's happening? Did we see the downfall of him? I mean, I think we have. He's definitely on that.
We saw the downfall of Ryan Romero when he fought the older gentleman.
And he got screwed because he beat him up.
The older gentleman.
The older gentleman beat him up. Okay, he beat him up. So I gotta get down on that, and I gotta get down on what's my man name? Pitbull. Isaac Cruz.
Okay.
That fight with him and Tim Teaser was a bloodbath.
No. Isaac Pitbull fought Raleigh Fundora fought Tim Teaser.
Yeah. I never seen the ring look like that in a boxing match in a long time.
He looked like he pulled out the
he pulled a razor out
like Jason or somebody and chopped him in the head. Like, damn.
Listen, I said they needed. I said, did he pull out a razor out of his mouth and like?
Yeah, that was bad.
Mm-hmm. It was a bloody mess. That was it. It was just crazy, and Tim, he dropped them belts.
Yeah, I mean that was Fundora. He made a good showing for somebody that was a fill-in for Keith Thurman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we really shouldn't hear nothing from Keith Thurman. I really don't want to hear nothing from Keith Thurman. Sebastian Fundora, he came back from getting he had lost his belts, and he's came back strong. Very, very tall, lanky dude, and he does his numbers. So yeah, I mean Raleigh Romero is a clown. Now the people now trying to take away from Tank's victory over Pitbull.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Huh?
I said, yeah, that's crazy. You can't take away Tank's.
It's crazy. We're gonna get out of here, but before we get out of here, I got to get down on a couple of things.
Say it.
Get down on these cats who don't know how to measure these basketball courts. You want to get down on them. You have one job. It could have really, we fool, we talk, we have fun, we make jokes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we stay on point. But that would have been, one of the biggest. It could have been really, really bad because again, we talked about it behind the scenes. Like, what if it would have been a situation? And I don't get into the what ifs and all of that, but you got to think about it because they played games while the court was uneven.
Three games.
They played
3 games.
So it's not, it's not above the, above reality or beyond reality to say, well, what if one of those games would have came down to somebody had their foot on the line, or they counted a 2 when it was actually a 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm really, really down on that. I'm getting down on the lack of, what did I say? What do you say? Detail or this is something you didn't think about.
Man, lack of attention to detail, lack of accountability, just lacking on the women's side because we have seen. I mean, it has been a disgrace. In the past, their facilities versus the men's facilities. They practicing inside of hotels, conference rooms, and have a little stool and a couple of 10-pound weights in the weight room. Oh, this is the weight room area for the women.
They was giving them swag bags from Dollar Tree.
Yeah, and then for them to,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and then for them to screw up the court when the women's game is highlighting during the tournament was ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
it
for it
really
to go
was.
on for 3 games. But thank goodness that these women are so talented that it didn't matter because
It
they
didn't
don't
even
shoot
matter.
the
Right.
line anymore.
That's the main
You
part.
know,
It didn't even matter.
it didn't even matter.
Yeah, I want to also get down on Rashi Rice.
There you go. Never
Listen,
dummy.
these yeah, absolutely. You already know these young cats, yo. You know, you can't tell them nothing until something happens, and then it's like, oh, well, nobody tried to tell me. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any, I didn't have a father in the home. This and that and the third. Knock it off.
Exactly.
Knock it off.
Because that's common sense. That's
if you're not supposed to be out there driving no Lamborghini that you leasing, and then you get it crashed up, and then you run away from the spot, and like, come on, yo, what is you thinking about?
And everybody like this.
Everybody got the camera out on you.
Everybody got the phone. Everybody got the cameras.
Everybody got their phone out, and they know it's you.
Walking away.
And then what's the homie from the Detroit Lions that finally turned himself in? Because he was wanted on some assault and battery or whatever. Like, what's going on with these dudes, man?
I'm telling you, they're young, they dumb, they don't know what to do when they get this bread. They out here, and what it is they hanging around a bunch of idiots. That's what it is. They surround themselves with a bunch of idiots who don't have anything, who's living off of you. You are the money, and you riding around racing. You racing a Corvette versus a Lamborghini. During the day on a highway, and you cause a 6-car crash where one person, I think like 2 people got injured, and then not only did you got 2 people got injured, but what about these people's cars? You know, and then you just get out the car and you walking away,
and you walk away like it ain't nothing.
And then you got people. The wildest thing about the whole thing is when you see the one video where the guy, they white, husband and wife, he says, "Oh, so you guys just going to leave that there?" And you hear the wife saying, "Well, they probably stole it." I said, "Wow." I said, "You can't even give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, I would like that. Maybe he's going to say, oh, maybe he's an athlete or maybe he's a rapper." She was like, "Oh." He instantly went, "They probably stole it." I said, "Damn." Sis.
That's crazy.
I said, "You can't give him a benefit of the doubt," but you know what? They put themselves. He put himself in that terrible situation by making stupid decision to race during the day on the highway, and now they're saying, "Oh well, it looked like they had guns and drugs in the car."
Oh well, that comes to the territory.
So when look left, what day he getting released? What day he getting released?
That's crazy. That's crazy. We're about to get up out of here on that note. Down in Sportstalk, I am left-handed at RM Des on Twitter. That is YADABEAR, my co-D, my co-host holding me down. Salute. Final Four, baseball, Wrestlemania, all that good stuff.
NBA.
Next week to talk about it. Absolutely. NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, all that. You know what I mean? It's a fight coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to get into that too.
Yes.
Haney.
Yes.
Ryan Garcia. We're going to get into that too. All right. We'll talk to y'all next week. In Sports Talk. We out. Salute.
Peace.
So what happened was, yeah, man, when Walker told